Aloha. Today I want to do a video and focus on the depths of the mind control program that manifests the enslavement program, the desensitization program, the defense mechanism, the victimization mechanism, the divide and conquer mentality. Expand upon it and relate it to the basic mainstream or real world perspective in order to share in a recognition that this is a moment of recognition that this is not a little thing. Like when your kids are watching movies, when they're watching superhero movies, when they're going to the public education system, when they're watching cartoons, when they're listening to their parents talk about politics, when they understand the White House, when they look at Mount Rushmore and see the so-called forefathers, which were slave owners, when they look at the money and see slave owners on that money, when that money adds up to the very human resources that they have, when their superheroes are all a particular race, when their so-called leaders are a particular race, the everything is based upon this is a possession. This is an actual collective possession. And I want to take this perspective right now to expand it even further so people can realize, to take it out of the space of, well, I'm a white person and I'm not that bad. Like, for a moment, realize that I'm speaking in reference to the soul level control that first manifests, then the mind control, then to the body control, which is the prison industrial complex having mostly all melanated people in there, and the colonial program of destroying the indigenous lands, taking the lands, destroying, installing sickness and disease in these vaccines with Bill Gates in Africa and so on and so forth. This is not a little thing. I've been actually being soft in my previous videos on this perspective, mostly because of my own not wanting to have to engage with people because of the fact that this is like a taboo thing and people are still trying to understand it and people take it personally. I'm not sharing this information for a personal attack or to impose guilt. This is to share how this program exists to enslave the entire population, to create the foundation to the enslavement of the entire earth plane, to enslave not only the body but the mind and the soul. The normalization program is to separate you from nature. The normalization program within the university system, within the politics, within the mainstream media, within your public education system, within the supremacy program, within the colonial program, it's designed to separate you from your soul, from nature. That is the same definition of a demon possession. It's the same thing. And when you realize that the university system is based upon the godlessness of the scientism community, this is why, when you understand that when the ancient civilizations were understanding alchemy, which is the balances of spirit and true science. This is what magic actually is. When you understand today that the leading focus, the foundation of this so-called civilization is just science, that is so-called science, that is actually void of the spirit. It's based upon that separation. It's based upon that. You are cutting humanity in half. You are creating a gap in humanity. You are stealing time. You are slowing the expansion of consciousness. You are controlling, you are dividing and conquering the individual and the collective. On so many levels. In this video, I wanted to focus on the Hollywood division, the Hollywood intention in direct relation to the Divide and Conquer program on a soul level, how it manifests into the body, how it manifests into your psyche. Your thoughts create your physical reality. If your thoughts are bombarded by a particular version of reality, you will create that version of reality. If I'll get into this in a second, it'll be obvious in a second, obviously. Even with this image right now, I just saw Doctor Strange yesterday, and the obviousness of your superheroes all being white. And like I said, for 1 minute, for one video, or for one moment, if you're still having difficulty with even somebody mentioning the white supremacy program or the white privilege program, for one moment realize that I'm not coming at this from the like the 1% of what I'm coming at it from is the physical reality. This is a focus on what that essence represents on the mind control level and on the soul level. What it actually does, the intention of the magic of why Hollywood is all white, why your teachers in your public education system are all white, why the White House is all white, why your Congress and all your presidents are all white, why the so-called leaders, why the colonial program exists. Why do you call the indigenous people savages and primitive? In order to build up the university system, the new version of reality, the new universe, which is the university system based upon the colonial program, the globe model, so on and so forth. It's to worship this new church, this new religion, which is the scientism. And it's all, you need leaders. You need people who will sell out, who will rally together and sell out for the system. This is why Hollywood is all white. This is why you have actors and actresses who won't play certain roles because they know how that will affect the masses. But you will have other actors that will do this. They will step into that seat and they will make that happen because they have gone so far into that program that it's normal, but it's not natural. And it manifests all the way into how our very relationships to earth, to nature, to food, water, shelter, security, love, relationships, reproducing, your health care, so-called health care, plants like cannabis being criminalized, and the majority of people being thrown in jail because of a plant that has been criminalized by the colonial program based upon white supremacy that is backed up by institutions like Hollywood, which is an actual magic. The holly tree, the wood from the holly tree, was what the Druidians used to make magic wands with. That's the only wood that they used, was wood from a holly tree to make magic wands, to cast spells, cast actors with the spell of a movie script. This is an actual possession. Humanity is possessed by a mentality. And like I said, this is not to impose guilt. This is to come at this from the soul level, to realize that no change will ever happen until this is acknowledged to the depth. Like, I'm having difficulty right now having to explain this right now because people still have difficulty in seeing that this exists. Like, people in the so-called black community and my family and in other communities, this is normal. People know that white supremacy exists. They know that the system is designed to work against the melanated people, to work against the indigenous people, to work against the aboriginal people. The only reason why it's taboo or hard to understand is because so-called white people are people, and white is a vibration. It's a mentality. It's a frame of thought. Nobody is white, just like nobody is black. That's a mentality. You are an essence that is natural, that is far deeper than a color, that's far deeper than a race, that's into the depths of the magic and the balance of who you are as a human expression in various styles. So you have the style of the African, you have the style of the South Americans, the Brazilians, the Mexicans, the Asians, the so on and so forth. Wherever you want to go, these are styles that that manifest into music, harmonics, culture, sound, songs. Those songs have been manipulated. They've been bombarded by so-called pop culture in order to tell a version of a song that it's like a mayonnaise sandwich humanity, possessed by a mayonnaise sandwich. This is why the animalistic behavior of the monkey mind, the evolution theory, this is what atheism comes from, is amplified into your system so you can be an animal to be controlled by the so-called powers that be, that understand the magic of humanity. And you are maintained into that animalistic behavior and mentality with the movies, with your education system, with the university system, with the evolution theory, with the globe model. It's an actual magic. It's an actual possession. And until you realize every layer of how this exists, you won't be able to hold these people accountable. This is my main focus for this video right now, is to hold these actors accountable. To hold yourself accountable for understanding, at least on a compassionate level, not like you have to do anything. It's in your thought vibrations. If you're still having difficulty seeing that this stuff exists, it's about your thoughts that manifest into the physical reality. These thoughts are understood mostly from a victimized perspective in the so-called black communities, because this is normal. It's normal to have 10 black people going for a job interview and then one white person going, that one white person get it. That's normal. And then that whole defense mechanism to that is, oh, well, he's more qualified. And no, it's ridiculous. Look at it from the perspective of Hollywood. You have all these Hollywood actors out there playing, white actors playing Asian roles, black roles, Mexican roles, Brazilian roles, like all these roles that are being cast. That's an intention there. It makes you feel a certain way about white people, like they're more talented. Oh wow, they're more qualified. And it makes you feel like shit for other people. Oh, well, they're dirty, they're gangsters, thugs. That's the intention. That exists on a soul level, on a mind control level. If you can't acknowledge that exists, that's how the system works. It makes you not even acknowledge it, so you won't be able to do anything about it. That is a hopeless vibration. When you're in a hopeless vibration, you are vulnerable to whatever the system is. You're in that box and you can't do shit about it. It just is what it is. And it's going to be what it's going to be based upon what the slave mentality puts out in front of you. And I wanted to focus this video on the Hollywood as being the one, if not the biggest defense mechanism for this system as a whole, being that humanity being possessed by this mentality on a mind level that manifests into the body from the soul level, which is the magic of separating you from true science and the spirit, the alchemy of your existence. How that alchemy is maintained by the university system, by your politics, and specifically for this video, by Hollywood. Because in order to have a magic, you have to have somebody to cast that spell. And these sellouts in Hollywood, and these sellouts in like the music industry, like you can see Lil Wayne, like that money is a magic. If you've seen these videos talking about, I don't know what you're talking about, Black Lives Matter, I don't know, that's some stuff that don't ask me no questions about that. I'm good, I'm rich, nothing. That's an actual magic spell. Millions of people look up to these individuals. It's a focus of energy. It's a thought vibration that manifests into the reality. People are trying to be like Lil Wayne. People are trying to be like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie and Matt Damon. And this individual, so I watched Doctor Strange yesterday. And of course, all your superheroes are white. And you see that's an intention there that goes all the way into like job interviews, like I was saying, down to your basic human resources. You have Native Americans who are just asking, pretty much fighting for the right to not have their water contaminated by the corporation system, by the fiat currency system. And this is why I'm doing this right now, is because the entertainment and distraction process has overtaken the humanity, the basic humanity of the human experience. People would rather be more entertained and distracted by the world, social media, the internet, television, than they will engage in their reality. When you understand that, you can understand that people are being killed. Their resources are being destroyed. How many more resources do you need to take from the Native Americans? It's happening today. And it's not a little thing. And to stay focused for this video, I'll get into that in a second. But this is I wanted to share an example of why people act the way they act and respond the way they respond, from the obviousness of the mind control program that is the mainstream agenda, that is the colonial agenda, the supremacy agenda, the Hollywood agenda. And these actors and actresses back this up by their non-action and their action. When you have like these actors and actresses supposedly getting involved in politics and all this other shit, that's within the box. They're trying to get people to act within the box. Like even Russell Brand, even if he speaks all about the consciousness, but consciousness this, and you know, the mainstream media is bad and all that other shit, and then getting into what he's for, he's talking about Marxism. That's still a fucking box. What you don't talk about is just as important as what you do talk about. And these individuals are very obvious from where they're coming from. So when they don't go to the depths of humanity in reference, in order, not skipping over like the New Age agenda wants to skip over history, culture, the actual physical reality that has led up from the ancestors to this moment. They want to jump over that shit and jump into the aliens. Oh, aliens did this, the alien agenda. That's another mind control program. That's another way to soften up the entire reality of non-engagement. So instead of having zombies that are just feared and destroyed mentally, and they just go to work every day from that fear and that hopelessness, you have love and light zombies. And instead of brains, like brains from zombies who are just completely brain dead, you have them like, oh, heart, the compassion, oh, everything is about love and light. Zombies, it's no different than another zombie trying to eat your brain. It's the opposite. It's the opposite extreme. You can't have the light without the dark, and you can't have the dark without the light. It's a total balance there, especially in this reality that we exist in and as. The agenda of the love and light perspective is to have you not engaging in the world that is banking on your non-engagement and banking on your separation, banking on the destruction program being allowed to go on and on and on. And the leaders of this program, because you have to have individuals to cast the spells, are vast in number in relation to the systems and the design. It's very complex, and I want to stay on focus on here because I wanted to reference all this stuff. But yeah, so I saw Doctor Strange yesterday, and it opens with the so-called Ancient One. She's on the left. In the original comic book, it's supposed to be a Nepalese man, old man, but casting the Queen of Narnia as the Ancient One. And of course, the defense mechanism, which is a perfect example of how these actors defend this, is, oh, well, we wanted to challenge the system and really see if, instead of having an Asian man, which is the original character, we wanted to have a white woman play this character, because the Ancient One really doesn't have a gender or race. He's just ancient. He really represents a particular, and you're just like, what the fuck? Of course you can see how that exists. At the same time, you're not seeing the intention that is obvious throughout Hollywood, throughout the entire so-called the entire earth plane. There's an intention there. It makes you feel a certain way about people and feel another way about other people. That is never acknowledged because they're killing you with kindness. And until it's acknowledged, that magic will still be active. So you have this lady playing an Asian man. Oh, well, she's just a good actress, and it really doesn't matter because she just represents. Give me a fucking break. There's an intention there. These are superheroes. She represents, or he actually represents, the Ancient One, which is the teacher of the superhero that you're watching, the movie of the superhero you're watching. And so the teacher is no longer an Asian man. The teacher of the superhero that your kids are going to worship is now a white woman. This is how consciousness gets adjusted. This is how time gets adjusted. Stealing time, manipulating consciousness through the thought patterns, the vibrations of thought. When you could be eating a cornucopia of consciousness, you are forced to eat a mayonnaise sandwich reality and deal with it. Subconsciously, an entire third of your reality is locked down by the movies, by the pop culture, by the mainstream media, by the hopelessness of the political program. Locked down. And the remaining 2/3 of your reality, your conscious reality, when you're awake, is locked down from the fear vibrations and the lack of engagement in your reality as a whole. Because it's so, the so-called powers that be are so strong, we can't do anything about it. This Hollywood is killing you with kindness. Your vibrations are being locked down. And it goes all the way into your very relationships to your culture. Who and what you are as a self, as a vibration. These programs exist. You have The Great Wall of China, starring Matt Damon, coming out in February 2017. The Last Samurai, starring Tom Cruise. Johnny Depp. Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, this shit ain't new. And people say, oh, well, Johnny Depp is like 1/16th Native American. Give me a fucking break. Of course. This is why. They want you to focus on that. So they'll get these actors who can put out there some kind of defense mechanism for the existence. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the intention of the system, why it's the way it is. Why are you bombarded with these frequencies to think certain way about certain people and think another way about other people? And it's very obvious. You're supposed to worship so-called white people. And you're supposed to feel like shit about other people. Like if John Cho was in The Martian. Or if he was the main actor of The Martian. People would actually like, oh, I don't care about that movie. But Matt Damon's in it. Oh, you're going to see it. Great talent because he's a great actor. Oh, no. No, it's a program. Interracial relationship. Not gonna see that. I want to see The Notebook. This man is supposed to be playing Michael Jackson in the new movie coming up. And his defense mechanism for that is, oh, well, it's such a challenge. I'm so honored to step into this and this character and play this. This is an intention. It's stealing magic. It's changing history, adjusting time, adjusting consciousness. It also creates a lack. You're less than. You have no talent. There are no talented actors to play Michael Jackson. There's only talent. The only talented actors to play Michael Jackson is a white actor. This is not new. This is old. And it's an actual magic that is not acknowledged. It is not acknowledged to the depths. Until it's acknowledged to the depths by the actual so-called race, the so-called white people. It's not a race. It's actually a mentality. It's a vibration. It's a vibration because you can have black white people. There's plenty of black white. You can have people selling out all day. The mentality. Look at Lil Wayne's latest video talking about I'm rich. I don't know nothing about no Black Lives Matter. I'm rich. I'm worried about myself. That's a white man. Vibratorily speaking, that's a white mentality. No essence, no color, no culture, no depth, no spirit, no roots, nothing. That's what I say. That's what I mean when I say white. This is an actual vibration that is being sold to the collective consciousness, not as just an entertainment thing, or not because they're more talented. And no, it's an actual vibration that separates you from nature. And this is the most obvious one. I wanted to share here. All your superheroes, you can see it's obvious. It not only builds up a particular perspective, but it builds down another perspective. And when you understand that the perspective being built down is actually 9/10 of the actual people on the earth plane, then you can see that this is not a little thing, that this is an actual possession. People are possessed by the mind control program. And it looks, the only words that we have to speak about this is stuff like white supremacy. And then you go even further into the actual magic spells of it all in Hollywood in particular, and you mention anything about the Jewish engagement or the Jesuit engagement in Hollywood as a whole, then they have words like anti-Semitism out there to defend that as the victimization. Oh, no, you're an anti-Semite. No, look at what the energy is, the energy being focused and who is being focused by. Start there before you start labeling other people as something else, and then see if you still feel a certain way about that label as a whole, and then look at what the intention of that label is for. Same thing like racism, that word. It's like, oh, you're a racist. Why? Because I'm mentioning something that actually exists? When I'm showing you examples of something, a magic that actually exists, that adds up to the actual politicians you vote for, the teachers in your school, the people that your children are looking up to, the people that your children want to be like Barbie, be like a Kim Kardashian, be like a Britney Spears. All these people that sell out, when you see like a Rihanna and go into that mentality, that world, that pop culture world as a good girl, and then flip and become a bad girl, that's not a mistake. That's an intention. That's an actual magic. And unless you do that, you won't be accepted in that world. So when you're like the Fugees or a Lauryn Hill, more specifically, if you don't play that role the way they want you to play it, you won't be a part of that system anymore. You won't get those millions of dollars. But if you play that Yes a Massa role, you get in there. You're going to get in there. Lil Wayne going to get that money and worry about all myself. I don't know nothing about no Black Lives Matter, sir. Nothing. Nothing, sir. Ain't no different than this damn Jake Gyllenhaal playing the Prince of Persia. This is a vibration. It's an actual possession. It's a bleaching of consciousness. Humanity is possessed by this. Hollywood is based upon hate. It's based upon fear, deception. These are all vibrations being installed into your thought patterns to manifest into the physical reality. Lies, division, racism, sexism, sexualization, death, the gay agenda, the alien agenda, the new age agenda, destruction, idol worship, powerlessness, the NASA programming, the globe model programming, evolution programming, dinosaur programming, the nuclear agenda. This is all about power, self-hatred, insecurity, disease, broken people, soullessness, scientism worship, godlessness, lack of culture, worshiping of the mainstream culture, the pop agenda, mind control, culture destroying, thought programming to manifest into this real world. That's what this whole system is based upon. Hollywood is a possession. It's a mind control possession. And it manifests all the way into your so-called politics, your so-called freedom, your so-called forefathers, your fiat currency system, your so-called education with the university system. This is a church. It's a mind control program, and it's not new. It's an intention. The distraction program of Hollywood as a whole is to pressure relief, to add a pressure relief valve like the civil rights time frame and a distraction from the system itself, so you will not engage in that reality. So you will worship 1/10 of the people on the planet and demonize 9/10, the remaining, who you are, the 9/10 of the origins of humanity, and worship the synthetic version of reality. Subconsciously and consciously being enslaved on a regular basis. These are the gods of Egypt. When you have ancient Kemet, Nubia, Kush, do you think of these people? No. So in order for you to think in kings as a king and a queen, you are forced to think like this. Your dreams are being manipulated through the movies, through the cartoons, all the programming these kids are watching, your video games, your superheroes, programmed to think a certain way. It will manifest into the physical reality. And if it's in a mind control program, you know it's in a soul control program. It's not a little thing. When you see the black and brown peoples being locked up in mass in the prison industrial complex, when you see the melanated people around the earth plane being destroyed by the military industrial complex and the colonial program as a whole, that's an intention and the celebration to lighten up the foundation to the military industrial complex and the prison industrial complex, and the intention of that program as a whole is the Hollywood doing this. This is why they put these actors like this, so you can worship that vibration as God. Since you have no connection with spirit, and you only worship the university system, you only worship the scientism church, the evolution theory, the Big Bang, gravity, Albert Einstein, Copernicus, Isaac Newton. When you only worship these individuals, that's an actual vibration that builds up a particular version of reality that will manifest into the physical reality and builds down the actual ancestral connections that exist in your genetic code. That's an intention there. It's amplified by the genetically modified foods. It's amplified by the cancer-producing system as a whole, psychologically and physically, to separate you from nature, to separate you from the soul. It's the bleaching out of everything. It's a possession. And like I said, it doesn't go down to the intentions, the conscious intentions of the actual people who are a part of this, subjected to this mind control program, in a sense, because this is more about vibrations from a soul space down to a mind control. But you yourself, within your lack of engagement, your lack of acknowledgement, your lack of seeing that this stuff exists, is what makes that magic real. That's what activates it. Your action within a box and your inaction within a reality as a whole is what makes this stuff real. So yes, it is you that are making this real. These thought patterns produce action and inaction. That's actual life. Either you're playing your music or you're not. Either you're activating your fire or you're a zombie. There's no in between. Just like there's no in between in the globe model or the earth plane. You're either talking about mind control or you're questioning your reality. There's no in between. There's no in between in a connection with spirit. You're always at the baseline connected with spirit, but in your so-called conscious reality, either you think that you're an atheist and separated completely, or you are on the verge, on the path of reconnecting consciously with that spirit, which everybody is ultimately outside of this linear version of a lifetime. But consciously, people have convinced themselves so much so that, which is the intention of this program, to separate you from that soul essence, that, nothing exists. Nothing. Everything is just, whatever. It's just, I need to go to work and, have the weekends off, and, that's my humanity. That's not humanity. That's a caged animal. Leonardo DiCaprio cast to play Rumi. That other guy cast to play Michael Jackson. All these superheroes. There's an intention here why this is like this. When you understand in the baseline, 9/10 of the human population is not white. So-called white. All of it is basically 9/10 of Hollywood, if not more than that, is all white. And it's the vibration. It's the lack of engagement. I don't give a shit how smart you think they are. I don't give a shit how engaged in humanitarian work you think they are. It doesn't fucking matter. They have sold out for the system if they are still engaged in that reality. Whether they are aware of it or not, it exists. This is not a mistake. It's the way these people are chosen. And you say, oh, they're just so talented. That's why. And other people, that when you say that, and you say, oh, black people aren't as talented as that. Oh, Mexicans out there. Yeah, right. Give me a break. A Mexican as talented as Brad Pitt. Come on. Wasn't that movie? What was that movie? The Mexican. And never mind, I'm not even going in. You already know. It's obvious. It's obvious. You can't get away from it. You can't look away. This is an intention. The way their eyes are, the shape of their face, the way their voice. This is a vibration to make you think and act a certain way in your politics, in your job, in your music, in your relationship, in your you're reproducing. The list goes on and on and on. This is a possession. These individuals, like I said, from flipping from the bad girl to the good, or the good girl to the bad girl, that's an actual possession. When you start going into the Beyonce on stage and all that other stuff, you can into the so-called conspiracy theories about her and all that stuff, and you really do get into that possession stuff. But that's literally what this is on a collective scale. You are possessed by dead energies. You are possessed by this lack of action, lack of fire, this white vibration. Like I said, this is a vibration that you either have or you don't have. And when you pride yourself in that, like the supremacy program, to think you're superior to, that's what white supremacy is, to superior to other races, especially the black race. This is a perfect example of the existence of the supremacy program. You think that these actors are getting Oscars and everything because they at their essence of being white, that makes them more talented? No, when you understand that 9/10 of the entire population on the entire planet or Earth plane is not white, then you can understand that these people are made. They are formula. This is a formula. This is a spiritual formula that is being generated for an intention. And that intention goes all the way up to separating the human from their spirit and hating themselves. Self-hatred on every level. And since they're sweet and they have this pretty smile and they have all the whatever it is that they've built these individuals up for, that is the defense mechanism for it. It's like the word anti-Semitism defends you from challenging the reality of the Jesuits being in charge of the entire mainstream mind control program. It's like, oh, it's the victimization program. And they say, oh, I'm just such a talented actor that I take this as a challenge. Thank you for casting me in this. No, the intention is this. The image that you're looking at right now. To install itself on the child level. To have you say, as a child, which is the good child? This child. Which is the bad child? Well, it's obviously that baby. That's an intention that exists in the adult, from the child to the adult. That's the intention, because it'll add up to your so-called powers that be, that make the decisions of this world, that make the decisions that add up to the military-industrial complex, that add up to the prison-industrial complex, that add up to the so-called forefathers mentality, the colonization program, that add up to you, the criminalization of cannabis. It's a separation of vibrations, the dumbing down of the entire human consciousness. This is like the Oscar night. It's the same thing. You think it's a coincidence? Think it's because they're more talented? No. This is a fucking possession. Possessed by the vibrations of so-called white. And don't take this personally. If you take, that's the most egoic thing ever, is to take this personally. Because I mentioned this. No, this is on a magic level, the soul level. I'm talking about possession, humanity. This is Rome. The United States is Rome. Taxes and all that other shit, the gladiator arena. This is Rome today. And instead of killing you with fear and destruction in the past, they're going to kill you with light, love and light, and these smiling faces that make you just believe, oh, everything is okay. This is the new gladiator arena. And they're killing you with kindness because they're making you kill yourself. And these smiling faces and these charismatic characters, these actors, are the reasons why you're so distracted in reference to the Native Americans pretty much asking for this fossil fuel industry to not contaminate their water sources, basic human needs. It goes from Hollywood and your actors all the way to your basic human needs, the colonial program as a whole. This is why I'm mentioning this right now. Your teachers, 80% white teaching. It's ridiculous. This is not a coincidence. These are just the proofs of it all. And how do you think these kids think of themselves when they don't see leaders on the basic level, the teacher level? They don't have their own teachers. What does that do to the individual? And the teachers obviously think they're doing a good thing. I mean, this is how this system works. It's a very complex algorithm. You think it's a good thing, and it'll add up. The separation is subconscious mostly. It'll add up to you graduating from high school, like I did, and then like my two best friends joining the military, and signing a contract to potentially lose your life for this colonial program. There's some kid right now thinking about joining the army right now because of all these damn army commercials and ROTC and the G.I. Joe movie, and basically not having any other options in their reality. And these soldiers back in the day weren't even understood. They weren't even accepted as human. Yet they signed up to give their life away to this system, for the system. Not even recognized by the system today. And this ain't no different than today. It's the same thing. It's the same story. They don't give a shit about you. This is a game. It's a joke. Completely desensitized. And the masses think it's like entertainment value. These are words. These are people, with those politicians, they're speaking out their mouth. There's no soul essence. There's not even any intellect when you go into the depths of intellect and understanding that the colonial process exists. The program exists. If you're talking about true intellect, you'll go into far beyond the roots of the Columbian age and go predate the Columbian age into the earliest forms of genocide and massacre. The earliest forms of separation, domination, control. The intellect of today is an illusion. These militarized police and the military industrial complex as a whole is defending the human possession. It's defending the mind control program as a whole. Unarmed protesters protecting the basic human need of water, being the sacredness, being attacked by the system itself. And when you stand up and rise into your knowledge of self, you'll be cast to the side. Once you expand your consciousness outside of the level of consciousness that exists within that box, you now become a threat to that system. And you will be cast to the side. You'll be ignored. Because you're challenging the basic human, the basic program as a whole. And in order to defend that program, they put these puppets in front of you to make it look like the system is really existing in some kind of format for you, like it has any kind of interest in the well-being of your existence. So they'll sell you these doggy treats of Bernie Sanders and all these so-called progressive politicians, and they amplify it with the TV. Tell me again how this guy didn't win. Playing with your emotional body, making you believe in this system, ripping it away, giving you up and down, making you think and act and feel a certain way. And these people who have been in the system, sold out for the intention, like I'm mentioning this video right now, is to show you how, or to you've already seen it, you already know, but to emphasize how Hollywood is politics. Hollywood is the university system, the globe model. It is the separation. It is the military industrial complex. It is the prison industrial complex. It is this possession, this separation. It is the backing up of the scientism community. It is why people believe in the university system so much. And if you believe in that, then you are inherently separating yourself from the spirit, because you're believing your reality into existence, and you're manifesting half of existence, which is less than an animal. Like I said in previous videos, there's some things that humans will do that animals won't even do. And that's because we don't know who and what we are on so many levels. Because we've adopted this mayonnaise sandwich reality it's like a crown on top of a mayonnaise sandwich. And all of these people on this stage are mayonnaise sandwiches wearing a crown. And people are like, well, they got a crown on, so, we got to trust them. Keep eating that sandwich. Woo, we did it, yay! I like her, she's a good actress. She's for Hillary, I'm for Hillary. Do 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 do, zombie, 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 zombie. It's not a little thing. Dumbing down, softening it up, lightening it up, selling it to you with emotion. This is the intention of Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live might have started initially to entertain you, but its intention today is to install how you feel about politics and politicians. And if you go even further than that, that might have been the intention before it even began, when you understand. It's ridiculous. This is how far this goes. It's to humanize a not human frequency. And you have these controlled oppositions like Alex Jones and Russell Brand and David Icke and so on and so forth, still existing inside the box. Proof, David Icke, don't matter if you're talking about reptilians and all that other shit. When Brexit hit, he was all about it. Oh, we did it. Things are changing. Great job. That's all I needed to know, that your ass is stuck in a box. Not meaning that you not knowing that you are intending to stay in there, but you're in there. I don't care how many decades of work you've been doing, there's other work you have not been doing. Russell Brand talking about attacking the mainstream media and all the news and all this shit. And then now, and before he took that break, he's backing up that political party in Britain. And now he comes back. His main thing is Marxism or socialism. This is all existing inside the box. Baby steps in the box of destruction, collective destruction and self-destruction. He's Hollywood. He is Hollywood. They want to make you believe, like just in the movies, like the Jason Bourne movie, make you believe that there's some good people in there. Oh yeah? Well, who are those good people? What do they look like? What are they doing? What are they talking about? Still exists inside that box. Alex Jones, he's one of the main damn ones. He's the loudest one. And this is why he exists out there. He's a controlled opposition to make you think like things are changing, to have the illusion of pressure relief, to have the illusion of revolution. This is a revolution in a box. It's a revolution in a candy store. That's what Americanism is. And he teams up with Trump, and he gets out there with Trump. This is to bring the storyline of conspiracy theory to the regular storyline, the mainstream storyline, so they can pressure relief all of the shit that is added up that people now have access to in these storylines, to release it controlled release, controlled demolition by the system itself. So they get, he's out there, he's talking about, we're going to change the globalists. He creates the good guy and the bad guy. And that good guy and bad guy exists in a movie, in a theater that is in a city that is in like Area 51. It's like it's locked. It's still, and you're locked into watching the movie, thinking that you're a character in the movie, locked in the Area 51 theater, locked in the Area 51 city, in the Area 51 box. That is the system, how it's designed to keep you from knowing how far this program goes. And people are like, well, I'm not a part of that. I'm only in the theater, or I'm only in the city. You're still in a military base. You're still in a mind control possessed mentality. If you don't break that shell, if you don't break through that barrier, controlled opposition, he's working for the mainstream media, working for the individuals. And some of these younger people that are working for like so-called alternative news, they're defending it and might not even know they're defending the program as a whole. But they're defending a box within a box. It's like a B-list movie inside that theater, trying to protect the old colonial system. Oh, the Constitution. If Donald Trump and Alex Jones are talking about Americanism and Make America Great Again, which has no recognition of the colonial program, the indigenous massacres, the native storyline as a whole, not only in the United States but across the earth plane, they're talking about a vibration that is zero degrees of separation from what the Young Turks and the alternative news are talking about. It's the same Americanism, same thing. Worshipping of the Constitution, worshipping of the forefathers, worshipping of this illusion that the United States is number one in what? In the entire earth plane. Protecting this program. And they utilize these actors and actresses to build themselves up. Having Rosario Dawson and Shailene Woodley and Susan Sarandon out at these protests and out at these political speeches supporting Bernie and all this other stuff. It's a controlled opposition, controlled demolition, controlling the storyline, maintaining the focus, maintaining the possession. It's a movie script. Directors in the movie. They will never address these programs. They will never address the people behind the veil. They will only talk about the colors of the veil and the stuff that's been existing on top of the veil, like the trash on top of the veil. In order to protect themselves, create themselves to be victims. Just creating stuff like anti-Semitism, hostility towards or discrimination against Jews as a religious, ethnic, or racial group. Why is that such a big thing in the mainstream agenda? To protect this. To victimize itself so you will not question that reality. Why isn't there like a anti-Polynesianism? Anti-Mexicanism, anti-Aboriginalism, anti-Indigenous-ism. Why isn't that a thing in reference to the colonial program? Because it does exist, obviously it exists, but there's not a word that's being put out there on a regular basis to make you think and feel a certain way. So it victimizes itself and makes other people the bad guys. And this is as complex as this storyline is. The list goes on and on and on, all the way into your relationship to the globe, the so-called the globe model, and your connection to nature, the earth plane as a whole. Globe model programming to the university system, to the politics. Local news, you got the old school people watching the weather every day. That's for globe programming and fear installation. And who are your newscasters? So-called white people. Talking like this, making sure you stay tuned and come right back and listen to us. We're going to tell you if you should go outside tomorrow because it's either going to rain or it's going to be sunny. And who's going to tell you? Us. The cool people with the fancy face and the fancy voice and the fancy suit. And we make sure that you stay dry. The intention there, it's vibration, it's an actual possession. And the intellectual side is to have President Obama, the first black president, on the Bill Maher show, real time, talking about real topics. And his main thing is talking about cannabis. He just sets up a softball for Obama to just shoot down and be like, well, you know, it's a drug and all this, never mentioning the fact that it's just a plant, never mentioning the video cut off, so I wanted to finish this last thought. Never mentioning the numbers, the engagement of cannabis in the reference to the cancer. This is a cancer producing system. The cancerous, diseased, possessed system needs to protect itself. Anything that is natural is a threat to the cancerous, diseased system. The individuals who have been enthroned, crowned by the diseased, cancerous system need to maintain the illusion that is based upon the distraction from that which is natural and from into the worshipping of that which is normal. So when you have these so-called intellectuals speaking about stuff like Obamacare and cannabis and atheism, Bill Maher talks about atheism like, oh, well, there are more atheists now in the younger generations than there are so-called believers. So when are they going to have representation in the White House or Congress? Don't you think that there should be more science-based people in the community? This is how far that separation program is gone and what it needs to do to expand the storyline. This is how time gets stolen. This is how storylines get expanded upon. This is how more separation manifests into this reality by these talk show hosts, by these interviews with these celebrities. Hollywood is like Mount Rushmore, basically. Hollywood is the same intention of Mount Rushmore with the forefathers, so-called forefathers, and that whole mentality being installed into the earth itself. That's a statement. Hollywood is a statement. Vibrationally speaking, on the soul level, it's a possession. On the body level, and on the fear vibrations and the actual way we engage in our reality or don't engage, action or inaction, is the statement of not action, no action. And just as much as Mount Rushmore needs to be, that energy needs to be adjusted, the energy of Hollywood needs to be adjusted and removed from the human storyline, at least on the individual space first. First on the individual, anything that the system does is not going to be for the benefit of the people as a whole. The individual needs to do this. The kids need to do this to understand, not to succumb to these enslavement mind control programs by these so-called intellectuals, these so-called leaders like Obama and whoever else is out there, the alternative news, the Alex Joneses and all this other stuff. That is the box itself. It's the theater itself. We have to remove ourselves from this theater. Realize, acknowledge the fact that this is not a simple dumbing down. It's not a simple process. This program is very deep. It's very complex. And the way the system protects itself is to play it off like it's not complex at all. And in that non-complexity, you have the apathy that manifests. You have the oh well, everything will just be okay. Everything is just quite all right. No. You are dumbed down on every level, from the hoaxes and the so-called conspiracy theories of these false flags like Sandy Hook, not only to install fear, but to make you think a certain way about certain people and think another way about other people. To not realize what happened at Wounded Knee. To not realize what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921, I believe it was, when the government bombed Black Wall Street, its own people, a thriving, a booming industry was bombed by the government on purpose to stop progress, to stop the expansion of consciousness, to stop the challenging of the system as a whole, on purpose. And since those movements have been stopped so many times, the distraction has just amplified. So this is why you have Saturday Night Live with the politics. This is why you have the World Series and the NBA Finals and the Super Bowl and Thanksgiving and Halloween and Christmas and Easter and the 4th of July and Columbus Day and New Year's Eve. All of this is Rome. It's to distract you from the fact that Rome still has a grip on your reality. And when you fight back, Rome will activate their lackeys, the ones who have been completely separated from their soul, completely separated from their roots, to fight the people who are representing stuff like basic human needs: water, food, culture, land. The list goes on and on. It's not new. It's a very complex system. The acknowledgement is an ongoing process. This is why I'm doing this video right now. It's an ongoing process. The acknowledgement is an actual counter energy to the intention of the system itself. The lack of acknowledgement is allowing it to be. The lack of engagement is allowing it to be. And when you allow it to be, you allow it to expand. When people defend it, you're just allowing it to be. You're actually helping it expand. It's the same mentality. Until we acknowledge that this exists, like with this video, it's obvious. You can't mention Hollywood without mentioning white supremacy. You can't mention Hollywood without mentioning the Jesuits. You can't mention white supremacy without mentioning Hollywood. You can't mention white supremacy without mentioning the colonial program and the White House and the military-industrial complex and the prison-industrial complex. And this goes down to the very vibrations of who and what you think you are. The separations from who and what you actually are, and the installation of the synthetic version of who and what you think you are. And since it's such a taboo, since those systems have gone so deep into the way we interact in our reality, we We don't even speak about things. And people who are so far gone into the apathetic form of reality, which just defends the system itself, we're not acknowledging that these systems exist. And no movement will happen. No expansion will ever happen. This is how this system steals time. This is how this system slows the actual progress. This is how the system maintains war and destruction and separation. So whether they put Hillary in there to do more of the same, produce another war, produce more destruction, produce the same program and install it and whatever, you're just going to go along with it. Or Trump to do it and celebrate it and be entertaining and produce more war, produce more ideas that will make this system more believable. Or they take somebody, put somebody else in there, or leave Obama in there. Whatever it is, the system will remain the same as long as we don't understand how deep this program goes, how long it's been around, what its intentions are, and where the energy actually exists. It sure as hell doesn't exist inside the box. Fighting within the box will only expand the box. If you don't expand outside of that box, you won't be affecting anything really. So all this so-called alternative news, the alien agenda, the so-called disclosure, it's still based upon the government itself. It's based upon that possession, that mind control program. The so-called conspiracy theory program that's being amplified by the Trump and the Alex Jones, the pressure relief valve of that whole mentality, that card is being played right now. Because if you tell the story, then you have control of the story. So when Trump hooked up with Alex Jones, that's to control the dialogue of what conspiracy theories are, so they can kill it. So they can release some information. Same thing with WikiLeaks. Same thing with Snowden. Same thing with Anonymous. If you control the storyline, what's being released, then you can control the dialogue. You can control what's real and what's not real. What's important and what's not important. And that's the intention of the story of this program as a whole. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share with this video in reference to specifically Hollywood and the possession, and to expand it outside of all the labels, everything that gets labeled in that reality, to make people make people feel uncomfortable and not speak about things. And take it to the soul level and realize that this mind control, in order for it to be a mind control, it has to exist on the soul level first. And what does that look like? What does it feel like? What are those vibrations meaning? What do they do? Because you can already see it on the body level. People in jail, in the prison industrial complex. People being bombed for the military industrial complex. People dying from this disease care system by criminalizing cannabis, the amplification of genetically modified foods, as if it's even something that it's illegal in other countries. But they're trying to defend it here. That's another one of the things that the Bill Maher and the Obama were talking about in that video, in that whether or not it's good or bad. What the fuck are you talking about? Genetically modifying baby food? What the fuck are you talking about? Good or bad? You don't even acknowledge. This is how far these individuals are, claiming to be the leader of the free world and all this shit. These are slave owners. That's pretty much it. So thank you for joining me. And until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, in harmony.